Hi everyone, I have a Christmas message for us today, and it's a message taken from the very heart of the Christmas story in Luke chapter 2 and verse 7. It says, "And she gave birth to her firstborn son and wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger, because there was no place for them in the inn." Here is this pivotal moment of human history when God becomes man, the incarnation. And the Bible, in its amazing way of telling stories, compresses that incredible event down into this one little verse. And she gave birth. It happened. Matthew's gospel doesn't even tell us. It just says after Jesus was born. So here is this pivotal event in human history. But there was no public announcement. There was no social media coverage. There was no other record for posterity other than this one little verse. And there was just a handful of witnesses there, a few shepherds from the field and these astrologers. That's really weird, isn't it? I didn't think we did astrology, but hey, that's who Jesus invited to his own birth. So the kingdom of God arrives in this really strange way, hidden in plain sight. And that's the title of my message today, Hidden in Plain Sight. And a lot of what God does is hidden in plain sight. It's been an incredibly noisy year. And out of the stress of everything that we have been living through and still are living through, emotions have run very high. And those emotions have got quite politicised. And it seems that social media has played this role of intensifying and accelerating everything. Because I can feel angry, and in an instant I can transmit my anger to hundreds or maybe thousands of people around the globe, with an opportunity for them to transmit that emotion onwards as well. So we get this unique moment in history when it feels like waves of emotion rolling around the planet in kind of an uncontrolled sort of way. And so we have people shrieking at each other. It seems really, really loud. People shrieking at each other about the US elections. People shrieking at each other about the way the pandemic has been managed or mismanaged, or is it a pandemic at all, or whatever. People shrieking at each other about different conspiracies, and you have to know this is true, and you're an idiot if you can't see what's going on, and so on and so on. And it does seem like some of the loudest voices around in this moment are actually the Christian voices. It might be just who I get to listen to, but it does seem that the Christians are certainly raising their voices very loud. And in this loud environment, there is a pressure to engage. There is a pressure to have an opinion also, because opinions are being thrust at me. And it raises our anxiety level as well, this whole process. And in the midst of this, I find myself asking, where is the Spirit of God? Where is the Spirit of God in all this? I don't know about you, but I am super thirsty for cool, abundant rivers of the purity of the Spirit of God, without this noise, without this hassle, without this anxiety-inducing stress in the middle of it. How are we to handle all these events? What are we to think about these events that have gone on this year? And I think in general the church has not done well about responding to the events that have taken place. And a lot of these voices that I'm hearing, they clearly think that they are bringing a kingdom perspective. But actually what I'm hearing is their own personal political perspective or their own cultural perspective. And I find that quite discouraging for the future of the church, because I've dreamed of a church that knows a unity that rises above politics, that rises above cultural differences, and is able to see the kingdom rising above all those things. But it's really felt this year as if that's not been the reality of where the church is at. And if we're not able to distinguish between the kingdom of God and my own politics and my own culture, then I believe that God needs to do some fairly deep work in our own hearts. The Lord took me to Luke chapter 17, verses 20 to 21. It says this: "The kingdom of God," Jesus said, "is not coming in ways that can be observed. Nor will they say, 'Look, here it is,' or 'there.' For behold, the kingdom of God is in the midst of you." And some other translations say the kingdom of God is within you. And for our purposes, it doesn't really matter. Both of those are wonderful translations for us today. So Jesus is saying, stop looking around. The kingdom of God, it's either in your own heart or it's in your own fellowship with those around you. That's where you find the kingdom of God. You don't have to look at all the events going on around you and read them and interpret them and do the signs of the times thing. The kingdom of heaven is already in your midst. Now, of course, the kingdom has to impact the world around us. If it doesn't do that, then we've missed the whole point of the kingdom. But Jesus' point is this, that the kingdom is in us before it is around us. And it feels like this year we've lost sight of the kingdom in us, and we've become very obsessed in looking for the kingdom around us. So the kingdom of God is something we experience rather than something we observe. In fact, Jesus says that we can't even begin to observe it unless we have first experienced it. In John 3, he says, "Except a man is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God." So we have to have this inner reality of the kingdom before we can even begin to look for the kingdom around us. There's another time when the disciples were coming back from their mission and they were excited because they'd been casting out demons just like Jesus did. And Jesus says, that's great, but do not rejoice that the demons are subject to you, but rather rejoice that your names are written in heaven. Don't rejoice at what you believe are manifestations of kingdom power around you. Rather rejoice that your names are written in heaven. Rejoice in the internal reality of the kingdom. Because the kingdom of God doesn't advance when we win an election. And the kingdom of God doesn't retreat if we lose an election, whatever our politics are in this thing. In fact, the coming of the kingdom, dare I say, has very, very little to do with human politics. Very little to do with that. Kingdom comes rather by a baby laid in a manger. It's not a geopolitical event. It's not a sign to be noticed. In fact, it was revealed only to Mary and Joseph and this handful of shepherds and these astrologers who came by. Those were the only people who knew what was going on here. There's an incredible promise in Psalm 25, verse 14. It says, "The secrets of the Lord are for those who fear him," or the friendship of the Lord. And the word, it implies an intimate, privileged circle. And God shares secret things with those who fear him. Things may be hidden in plain sight, but he will point them out to those who fear him. That's an incredible promise, and I am hungry for that promise at this time. I'm hungry for God to begin to speak to me of hidden things, to speak to me of things maybe that are out there in plain sight, but I've not really had my eyes open to see. But these secrets are for those who fear him. And God is calling the church back to a reverence, to a respect that I think in the intense emotions of this year we've lost sight of. The fear of the Lord is not about a fear of punishment, but it is about allowing God to be God. It's about saying again, I am saved, I am redeemed, I'm glorified, I'm sanctified, but he is still God. It's remembering that vital difference there. It's maybe allowing the kingdom to violate our sense of political values and our sense of cultural values. Peter has his dream on the rooftop, and out of that dream he gets sent to Cornelius' house. And in that process his political values are violated by the kingdom advancing, because Peter's politics said that the Jews were the chosen people, and here he is being sent to preach salvation to the Gentiles. And it violated his cultural values, because his culture said that Jews don't eat with Gentiles, but there he was sent into this Gentile home. So as we know what it is to fear God, he can reveal to us secrets that might be taking us beyond the comfort of our own familiar politics and our own familiar culture. So I want to give you in this season just simply this message. Number one, please don't be under pressure to have an opinion about everything that's going on. Your salvation doesn't depend on it, and the coming of the kingdom doesn't depend on you having an opinion. Number two, rejoice not in what is going on or what is not going on, but rejoice that your names are written in heaven. That is so fundamental. That is so important for every single one of us at this time. And then number three, won't you join me in a thirst and expectation for God to reveal his secrets? Won't you join me in that place of a renewed fear of the Lord, for him to reveal those hidden things to us, things that are hidden maybe in plain sight. So thank you for being with us. Thank you for your support over this last few months. It's been incredible to see the people that have been watching these videos. Have a fantastic Christmas. Enjoy your family, enjoy your holiday, whatever it has in store for you. And we will be in touch again in the new year. God bless you.